Hi, this is Pankaj Goyal on behalf of Impulse Group. Now in this video we will discuss about the causal and non-causal system. This causal system, sometimes also called as non-anticipative system. Okay. When a system is called causal, when a system is called non-causal, or sometimes another form of system is anti-causal system. When a system is called anti-causal, we will talk about that, and after that we will discuss the question of DBP number 2, which is uploaded on 23rd today on our Facebook page, The Impulse. So to begin with the causal system, we know that any system can be represented as like this. This is the output, this is the input, or this is the system operator. It is something like that, block diagram. If any system is passed through this system H, then output will get something like this. Okay. So under the causal system, we will study the dependency of input on output, how my output is dependent on input. Okay. So I have said that this causal system is also called non-anticipative system. Okay. Anticipative means something related to the future, and non means that is not related to the future. Okay. So what we'll see here, we'll take any present time t, my output, if my output, okay, does not depend upon the future value of input, okay, does not depend upon the future value of input. Okay. So under that condition, this system YT is called, the system H is called causal system. Okay. I can say in a different way, if for any present value of t, if my output depend upon the present value or the past value of input, so the system H is called the causal system. Okay. Now coming to the anti-causal system and non-causal system. First, non-causal system. Okay, any system can be represented something like this. Okay, so for any present value of time t, assume this is time t is the present value. So if my output depend on the future value of input, if output depend future value of input xt, then my this system H is called basically the non-causal system. Okay, my xt is given to system this H, and we are getting output. So if for any present value of input, if my output depend upon the future value of input, then the system H is called non-causal system. Okay. Here one should note that for any present value of time t, this output can depend on present plus future. Okay. So if it is only dependent, not only dependent upon future, okay, it is dependent upon present at the same time, okay, or in the past at the same time, when my output depend upon the future value of input. Okay. So there is what is the basic difference between non-causal and anti-causal. If my output depend upon only the future value of input for any present time t, under this condition my system is called anti-causal system. And if my system depend upon future value of t, on the same time it may be dependent upon the present times for some input, or it may depend upon the past for some input, but it has some term which is actually dependent on future time. So the system is called non-causal. If we differentiate between anti-causal and non-causal, I can say that if a system is anti-causal, then it will be non-causal, but if system is non-causal, it may or may not be anti-causal. It is not necessary. In the previous video, I have talked about the system static or dynamic. If we talk about a static system, that for any present value of time t, my output only depend upon the present value of input. Okay, so under this condition, my static system is causal system. So I can say that all static or memoryless system are causal system. So I am taking here the first example. This is yt is equals to x of minus of t. Okay, so this is term independent variable. Okay, the operation on independent variable is time reversal. Okay, so whenever we are checking for the system is causal or non-causal, under that condition we will check the system not only for positive time but also for negative time. We will check for all time. The system definition should be applicable for all time. Okay, so here for any present time t, let us suppose t equals to 1. Okay, so then y of 1 will be equals to x of minus 1. If we see here, for any present time t, my output depends on what? It is the past value of input with respect to this time t. So one can tell that system is causal. Okay, but the mistake what we are taking here, we are checking this particular output dependency on input for time t is greater than 0, but we are not checking here for t is less than 0. So if we take when t is equals to minus 1, that is t less than 0, so we'll get y of minus 1 is equals to x of plus 1. So under this condition, for any present value, my output depends upon the future value of input. Okay, one should not commit that mistake that the person is checking only for the positive time, he is not checking for the negative time. So answer may be wrong. So we have to check for the causality to all time. It should be that the output should be dependent on input all time. If all time it is depending upon the past or present value, then system will be causal, and for some cases it is dependent upon the future also, then system will be non-causal. So here this yt is equals to x of minus t is depending upon future for negative value of t, so this system is non-causal. The system is non-causal. Now I am taking the first question here, yt is equals to x of t plus of x of t minus 1. So if we take at any present time t equals to t naught, then we see here when this output depend upon, this is the present value of input and this is actually the past value of input. So my output dependent upon either present value of input or past value of input. So this system is basically called the causal system. The system is causal system. If we change here, this is the continuous time signal. If we change here with the discrete time signal, then this will be something like this. This does not change the system configuration. If it is causal, then it will be again causal. Okay, there is no difference in this question here. If signal is discrete time signal or signal is the continuous time signal. Okay, going to the next question, which is actually yt is equals to x of cos of t. So in the previous question, we were talking about the system dynamics, whether a system is causal or non-causal. I have taken two times, that is t equals to t by 2 and t equals to pi. Okay, so by assuming t equals to pi by 2, I get here y of pi by 2. This is actually what? X of 0. And if we take t equals to pi, then here it will be equals to x of minus 1. So we can interpret here, for any present value of time t, my output depends on past value of input. Okay, so one can tell here that system is causal. Again, the person is making some mistake. He is checking the system only for positive time. is not checking the system for negative time. What will be the behavior when t is negative? Now assuming t is equals to minus of pi. So under that condition, y of minus pi, this must be equals to x of minus 1. So under this condition, this minus pi is the present value. So this output depend upon future value of input. This minus 1 is the future value with respect to this present time. So my system is actually non-causal. Okay, so this yt is non-causal, this is not causal. The causal, if someone is telling about the system causality with respect to this only positive time, then system is causal, but this is wrong, because we have to check for all the time the system is non-causal. Now moving to the next question, which is yt is equals to x of 40 in continuous time domain, or in discrete time domain it can be written as x of 4 of n. So for any present time t equals to t1, we can say here y of 1 is equals to x of 4. So this, with respect to this present time t, this x of 4 is the future value of input. So my output depend upon the future value of input. So system is basically non-causal. Now in this question, this is the time dependent coefficient. Okay, and this is basically the input. Okay, so in the definition we have seen that the output has only dependency on the input. Whether for any present time t, my output depend upon the present value or past value or future value of input. It does not concern any with this coefficient. Okay, so it can be written here something like as, if this yt is equals to rt, this is any function of time, then xt. Okay, so we will not consider the effect of this. Okay, we will check whether this output depend upon present value of input, past value of input, or future value of input. So under this condition, let us assume t equals to t is the present value of time. So t minus 2 represent the past value of input. Okay, so my output depend only on the past value of input. So this system is causal. Now moving to the next question, yt is equals to x of minus t minus 2. Here this is, we have already discussed yt of x of minus t. This is nothing but the time shifted version of this signal with time t. Now we'll check again for t less than time, then we'll get, if t is equals to minus 4, we'll get here y of minus 4 is equals to x of minus 4 of minus 4 minus 2, we will get here x of 2. So with respect to this present time t equals to minus 4, this output depend upon the future value of input. So this system is non-causal. Next question is here, is a split system. It is defined for two times. One is basically t is less than 0, and secondly basically for t is greater than 0. So to check the system output dependency on input, we will concentrate our domain only for this time. Okay, and for this function we will check only for this particular time. Okay, so if first we will check here for x of 40 when time is less than 0. Okay, for any time which is less than 0, so this time, let us suppose t is equals to minus of t naught. Okay, so then my output will be x of minus of 40 naught. So for with respect to this present time, this minus 40 naught represent the past value. Okay, so my output y of minus of t naught actually depend upon the past value of input. Okay, now we will check for the second one, yt is equals to x of t minus 2 when time is positive. So when time is positive, again this t minus 2 represent the past value. So my output depend upon the past value of input. Okay, so this is for this function, my output depend on the past value of input. For this function, my output depend on the past value of input. So here the system overall dependent upon the past value of input. Okay, so the system is causal. Going to the next question, it is given here yt is conjugate symmetrical part of xt. So this particular function can be written like this: xt plus conjugate of xt minus of t divided by 2. So here we can see that if we take time t is less than 0, then this particular function will dependent upon the future value. Okay, so this output depend upon the future value of input. So this function is called, this system is called non-causal system. Okay, what is the system? If this yt, this if input xt is given to the system h and we are getting this output, what it does? It gives the conjugate symmetric part of this input. So this system h for which system? This system h is non-causal. Now moving to the next question, this is yt of t integration minus infinity to x for tau d tau. Let us assume that integration of this x of 4 tau d tau is nothing but f dash of 4 tau. Okay, so we can here f dash for tau limit from minus infinity to t, it can be written here in 4 of t minus x dash of infinity minus infinity. So for any present value of time t, my output depend on this future value of input. Okay, if t is equals to here 1, then x dash will be of 4. So with respect to this present time, this represents the future value of input. So my output depend on the future value of input. So this system is non-causal. This system is basically non-causal. Okay. Now moving to the next question, this yt is nothing but even part of xt. Even part of xt can be written as here x of t plus of x of minus t divided by 2. So under this condition, when the time t is less than 0, then this represents the future value. So my output depend upon the future value of input. So this system is non-causal. Okay, this system is non-causal. Now moving to the next question, this is yt integration of this x tau d tau with respect to tau, limit is from minus infinity to t. Let us assume this integration of x of tau d tau is nothing but x dash of tau. So we can write here x dash of tau limit are from minus infinity to 2t. So putting this limit, we will get here x dash of 2t minus of x dash of minus infinity. So if we take any present value of time t equals to t naught, then we will see here this 2t naught represent the future value. Okay, so my output depend upon the future value of input. So this system is non-causal. Okay, when t is positive, then this system will be non-causal. Next question is yt integration of x tau with respect to tau, limit is from minus infinity to t. Let us assume this integration x tau d tau is x dash tau. So we will put the limit here x dash tau from minus infinity to t. We will write something like this: x of t minus of x dash of minus infinity. So for any present value of time t, my output depend either the past value or the present value. Okay, so this system is causal. Now moving to the next question, there is a split system which is defined for 3 different time. One is basically n is less than 0, second at n equals to 0, and third is basically when the time is greater than n equals to 0. Okay, that sample are taken from the positive time. Okay, so we will see this system with respect to this time only, this system for this time, and this particular system for this time only. So first check yn is equals to, if it is x of n minus 2 when n is less than 0. Okay, and time is basically negative. Let us assume n equals to minus 1. So my y of minus 1, this will be equals to of minus 1 of minus 2, this is equals to x of minus 3. So for any present time, my input depend upon the past value of my output depend upon the past value of input. So for this particular time, this system is causal. Okay. Now next, moving to y of n is equals to x of phi of n when n equals to 0. When n equals to 0, then y of 0 it will be equals to x of 0. So for any present value of time, my output depend upon the present value of input. So for this particular time, this system is causal. Now check the last one, yn is equals to x of n when n is greater than 0. So if we put here positive time, then my output depend upon only the present value of input. So this system is again causal. Okay. So for all time, this system and this system is causal. So the split system is overall is causal. Moving to the next question, it is y of n summation of xk, and k varies from minus infinity to n plus 1. I can write here something like this: x of minus infinity up to so on x of 0 plus of to so on x of n plus of x of n plus 1. Okay. So for any present time, n is equals to, let us suppose n naught, n is equals to n naught, then my system output, this is yn, dependent upon these are the past values up to so on x of n minus 1, and this is actually the present value, and this is actually the past future value x of n plus 1. So for any present value of time, my output depend on past value of input, present value of input, as well as future value of input. So this system is non-causal. Now moving to the next question, it can be written like this, like yn is equal to summation of x of 2n when k varies from minus infinity to n in discrete time domain. So we can write over here x of minus infinity up to so on x of 0 plus of x of n up to so on x of 2 of n minus 1 plus x of 2 of n. Okay. So if we take n is equals to n naught, the present time, then we can see here this output depend upon, this is actually up to this n minus 1, up to n minus 1 is the past time, this is the present time, and the overall is the future time. So my output depend upon not only on the present time and past time, but also the future time. So this system is non-causal system. Moving to the next question, it is y of n summation of x of k when the discrete time k value changes from minus infinity to n. So this particular system can be written like this, from x of minus infinity up to x of 0 up to n minus 1 and this x of n. Now take any present value n equals to n naught. For this present value of this, then this particular term depend upon this represent the past values of input, and this particular is the present value of input. Okay. So my output y of n depend on, for any present value of time, past value of input as well as present value of input. So this system is causal. Now moving to the last question, this is nothing but y of n is equals to k equals to minus infinity, time is moving from minus infinity to n, and x of k. So here we can write x of minus infinity up to x 0 up to x of n plus x of 2n. So for any present time, n is equal to n naught 0, this is represent the present value of input. Before this, all are the past value of input, and after this, all are the future value of input. Okay. So my output yn depend upon past value of input as well as present value of input as well as future value of input. So this system is non-causal. So thanks for watching this video. If you have any particular comment, please do share. Thank you.